How's it going, ParaTruthers? Welcome to a brand new episode of ParaTruth Reborn. We are live on 107.7 FM New Orleans, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and United Public Radio Network, as well as any social medias that we're streaming out to. My name is Justin.
And I'm Erik.
And if you're listening to this episode on our Sunday time slot, we would just like to let you know that we have switched days and we're now streaming live at 10 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights. Today, we are joined by Kat Ward from Paranormal Heart to answer and discuss the most common questions of the paranormal posed by you. Kat, welcome to ParaTruth Reborn.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, yeah. What do you mean? You sound like again.
I said again. I was supposed to be. That was excitement. The pitch is, high pitch.
I didn't hear that. No, I'm just kidding. It's always great to talk to you guys. We always have so much fun.
Erik, you know she's not good at social cues. Geez.
I forgot. It's been a while.
I'm getting old, I just don't catch on to things anymore.
Oh, man. So, Kat, how's it been?
With
life.
Everything. The show, everything going on.
Oh.
How's it been with Canada? With the world? With the moose?
Canada? I don't know. It's just anyways. Good, really. The show's doing well on the network. So thank you, UPRN. Thank you, Joe. I was going to call him Daddy Joe, but I didn't think that sounded right. Thank you, Joe Montalda and Michelle, for having us on the network.
Well, thank God we can edit and post for the rest of the archives.
My favorite thing is when you stop yourself from saying something, but then you immediately confess what you're about to say. You should get it anyway.
You guys do that. I hear it all the time.
We do it all the time. We are the worst at it.
Oh,
I'm about to remove Kat from the. Oh man!
I have access. I can come back in.
It's fair.
Takes me out, I pop back in. Takes me out, I pop back in. So how are you guys? Congratulations on going live. This is amazing.
Yeah. First one went really well, and to Erik's chagrin, we're continuing to do it.
I don't mind it. Like I enjoy it. It's just I got to get back into it. It's like we've been doing pre-recording for so long and earlier in the day at that. Like this is 10 p.m. Eastern for me. I'm ready for bed. But...
Yeah, me too. When I told my husband it was 10 o'clock, I'm like, I'm up playing on my phone anyways. So.
Right.
There's a time where Justin and I used to do a podcast live at midnight. So, but that was
our first one.
Night Stalkers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were much younger though. That was easy. Nowadays it's like 9 o'clock.
Oh, it was not easy. There was an episode that you fell asleep.
There.
No.
And we had a guess.
I did.
And I'm like, I really hope he doesn't start
that's
snoring.
Available, you got to send it to. I got to watch. I got to listen to that.
Man.
All of those episodes, I don't think they're even anywhere out in the ether anymore.
Those were the days. This is back when we used to actually record in the same room.
Yeah. Oh man, that
good times.
Still to this day, one of the worst nightmares of my life. I'm like, bam, dude, what are you doing?
Oh my.
Well,
you just bored him to death, Justin.
Well, it could have been the guest. I don't know.
I mean, it could have been. Those are also 2-hour episodes you're doing. So we're doing like 12 to 2,
Oh, yeah. That's a long.
Yeah, it's long and it's really late on the East Coast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I can't listen to Dave Scott's shows anymore live because it's like it starts at midnight here and it goes for 3 hours. When we lived in Alberta, it was not an issue. It was only an hour difference. Now It's like, oh my God.
Well, I was a guest on there with him, and I think it was 11 o'clock here, and even that was late, and that was when we were living in a place that only had one big room as the living space. But
You sounded like a Charlie Brown adult there towards the end.
wah, 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 wah.
That sounds better.
All right. Well, this is technically our Thanksgiving episode, only because there's really not anything that you can talk about for Thanksgiving that is spooky and weird. We covered Gobble Squatch years ago, but that is just way out there of a myth, and there's not even a lot of information on it.
No,
So
that's like a 2-minute story, and then
right,
you gotta find something else to talk about.
There is the haunting of the turkey dinner after you ate it, and everyone's on the couch wishing they died.
Yeah, you have all the ghost turkeys running around with their heads missing.
and there's only so many times we can talk about the missing colony of Roanoke, too. So
Yeah.
We've got a list of questions. It sounds like, Kat, you've got a list of questions that you came up with. I think we're going to start with a general one, and we can kind of go back and forth with some of the ones you got too, Kat. But
Sure.
One, and I know everybody's in this situation's answer to this, but are ghosts real?
I mean, obviously, we can't say for sure. Like, we still can't say 100%. There's evidence that seems to support that there are ghosts, but we can't scientifically prove it because we can't reenact some of those results. We can't get a person, or a spirit in this case, to say the same thing over and over, or to necessarily do the same movements or make the door move, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of it is really just based on speculation still, despite hearing voices, despite seeing images. And so I think it's one of those things where it's really like, we can say yes if you believe in spirits, that maybe they do exist, but we can't literally scientifically prove that this indeed is a ghost, because there are so many aspects to the paranormal that can be logically disproved, or at least assumed to be something other than paranormal itself.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. And on top of that, if there are other entities out there, again, you can't prove it, but is that what's going on too, where it's these things mimicking what a ghost would be, and it's not a dead person, it's a entity of some kind.
Right.
I am go ahead.
No, you.
Thank you, sir. I'm a huge believer, but I'm a huge skeptic too. Mm-hmm. So just because something goes bump in the night, I'm not going to take it as it's a ghost. I want to find out why. What's going on behind the scenes? Is it EMF? Is it something else? Maybe the ghost happened to maybe it's like a bat signal, with EMF. The ghost just come to it. We don't really know.
Right.
And we can, there's argument that a lot of it can be mental, that these things manifest within our minds and we think they're spirits. But of course, that gets disproven when we start to catch things on video or in photographs or on audio. And that's like just a whole different thing altogether, because again, we can't recreate a lot of those things. We can't test it multiple times. Like, yeah, you can get a similar sounding voice that says different words, mm-hmm. but you can't replicate the exact EVP, for example. I will say that I feel like there is kind of a split. There are people who believe in ghosts, there are people who don't believe, and then there are people who believe in ghosts and then what we now deem as entities. These could be demons or nature spirits, elementals, any other, fae, et cetera, et cetera. Some will say that, especially in the Christian aspect, some will say that demons simply mislead humanity in this case by pretending to be a once living person and therefore deceiving us into believing ghosts are real.
Yeah.
I will say, like, because I've done a lot of research on this within Bible context as well. And there is a lot of things within the Bible that says, like, or quite a few things that it says. It says, like, to be out of the body is to be in the presence of God. The idea of that is once you die, your spirit is just it's tethered and you go straight to God. Another says like if to be out of the body is to be in judgment. So as soon as you die, you're being judged and you're going to one place or the other, right? Some will say heaven, hell, or heaven, purgatory. Again, it depends on your translation of the scriptures and what translation you're using. So with that, like a lot of people say, well, ghosts don't exist because it says that there are deceiving spirits. It says that to die, your spirit goes straight to God, so you can't be wandering earth. But at the same time, there is a very simple passage in which Jesus walks on water. Most everybody knows the story. And Peter and the other disciples get scared and they say, it's a ghost, it's a ghost. And Jesus says, I am not a ghost. Look at me. I have flesh and I can eat. What I notice in that particular passage, though, is he doesn't rebuke the disciples and saying, no, there's no such thing as ghosts. He just says, I'm not a ghost. I am a person, and I find that really intriguing because if it was important for us to know that ghosts don't exist in human form anyway, then he would have possibly, I would think, rebuked them in that moment and say, no, that's a false belief.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's one of those things where it's not important by any means, in terms of scriptures, whether or not they exist or don't exist, or if they're here on earth or other, elsewhere. But I think it's interesting nonetheless, and at least provides some possibility that maybe there is, for some reason, human spirits on earth.
Yeah, I mean, by him not saying ghosts don't exist, did he just admit that they do? I mean, we can speculate.
Right.
What's a question that you've heard a lot, Kat?
Why do they keep coming back?
Mm.
We were on an investigation once where there was one or two other teams that were there and everything was fine. And all of a sudden, they're contacting another team because they came back, and they just didn't understand why. And like Katie Turner, I'm going to take a page out of her book. She would explain that when you cleanse your area, it's like sweeping your floors. Your floors are clean. You go out, you come back, you're bringing more dirt. So you have to keep sweeping in order to keep the dirt out, So there was this one case in particular where the client actually wanted them to keep coming. She liked the attention, but her children, her babies, were being terrorized. So I had to tell her, use your mom voice, and you have to tell them this isn't their home anymore. You have to leave. This is my place. And we always keep in contact with clients afterwards. And we even showed them how to keep cleansing their house. And this was several years ago, and we haven't heard from them since. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your intent. You want them back, so they're like, "Oh, open house."
Right. Well, yeah, and I agree. I think there could be, in some cases, intent, and I've admitted that I've struggled with that in the past as well. Years ago, where I went through a very dark moment in my life, 3 months worth, in which there was a demonic activity that oppressed me on the regular. And even once that was gone, and I was thankful it was gone because it was really scary, there were moments where I'd be laying in bed and almost kind of missing like that fear factor, that dread, that like what's going to happen. There's something that just is like gets the adrenaline going, and I think in those moments it draws these spirits back. Something else though that I wanted to actually bring up, because you saying that these spirits, when they were cast out, it would come back, it would seem. Well, it's funny that you would have to keep cleansing, right? Because actually the Bible also touches on that. Jesus actually says in Matthew 12:43, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid spaces or places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I'll return to the house I left. And when it arrives, it finds it unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. So then it goes and finds 7 more spirits more wicked than itself and resides there again. And the idea here is, yes, you want to keep that space constantly clean, but it's important, if you don't want the spirit to come back, that you fill that space with something good. And of course, biblically, we're talking about with the Holy Spirit, right? You want to fill it with God. I know we've talked to a lot of people who gone through something similar, and they fill their space with positive energy, light. They try to remove anything that can be negative in their life, whether it's music or movies or individuals. So it's very important that if a spirit keeps coming back, you need to take a moment and check to see what you're filling that empty, swept up space with. Because if it's with nothing, that spirit will continuously come back, find it clean, and find a better place to rest.
Kind of like mopping your floors with just water and not cleaners.
Yeah, or like mopping with dirty water, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you sweep and sweep and sweep, but you don't pick up the dirt and throw it out. It's just going to get tracked around again.
I just want to interrupt you for a second and say, hi, Heidi. I just noticed her in the chat.
Yeah.
I just love that lady. Oh, and Mish, hello. G'day. What's some other questions that you've come across?
Erik.
Yeah, so again, kind of sticking, I think, with the whole, I guess more so on the spirit side, but why are some people more sensitive to the paranormal than others? Right. And I think that's a valid question because we hear that a lot, especially on our show, and especially through like chats or emails, where people are often concerned with, especially when they're new to this, they want to understand why they experience the paranormal more than what their other people do. Like, why did I experience the things I did while I was living in the house with 5 or 4 other people, and none of them experienced what I did, right? And that really comes down to a number of different factors. I mean, this could be genetic, in which is passed down through birth, and you have kind of this third eye that is open, and you can recognize and see the paranormal realm to some extent, or at least it's easier to invite it in. It could also be really in regard to your circumstances. If you're going through a difficult time, especially something that's very derivative of being dark or negative or just a difficult, you can draw those type of spirits, and not just negative spirits, but just any kind of spirits can be drawn in, because when a negative spirit attaches to a darker energy or negative energy, it will naturally become a beacon to other spirits as well. At least that's based on the science that is within the paranormal. That's the idea. That's what we believe happens anyway, based on what evidence we do have.
I like saying, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I like saying it's like some people have really good eyesight and don't need glasses. Other people have weaker eyesight and need glasses. Kind of like that with some people are, you could go for, like for myself, when I go for a walk, stray cats could come up to me. Just wild animals are drawn to me for whatever reason, but other people, they run away, or you just don't see them at all. So I think it's something like that with spirits, ghosts as well.
See, I would say, like, you have to open yourself up to the paranormal, and that's why some people are more sensitive than others. Ouija boards, doing what we do with paranormal investigations, I opened myself up to mediumship. You really have to get out of that mindset. Basically, being an adult. As kids, we are closer to the other side for 2 reasons. One, we still have our imaginations and think that anything is possible, and 2, we are closer to just coming into this world. So I think that there's multiple factors, but I think that the people that aren't sensitive to the paranormal are the ones that are like, either they're completely skeptic and have closed themselves off completely, or just there's way more things going on in their lives than um, noticing the knocking on the closet door and there's nobody behind it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I found this question kind of humorous, and it really is a good one though. Why do ghosts wear clothes? And I mean, it's humorous, but it also brings up a valid point. If you're seeing a ghost, and I mean, obviously you're not going to see them naked. You're going to see them as they were, and they would be noticing that they didn't have clothes on.
Some of
But
them might have been in their birthday suits when they passed,
well,
and
that's
it's
true
like
too.
I don't want to see that.
Well,
Right.
now, see, here's the thing though. Like, I think it highly depends. Now, we do seem, for whatever reason, to see these ghosts wearing clothes. But when you consider the spirit, like a person's spirit isn't wearing clothes. In fact, like scripturally, we're talking about a spirit basically has no gender. They all spirits are more or less the same. So if we really are seeing a spirit or a ghost, technically it should be naked or at least have very little form in terms of what it's wearing, right?
Mm.
Uh, so the reason why we're seeing ghosts wearing clothes is often because it's likely more of a residual type haunting, or an echo in time, something that replays over and over, rather
Mhm.
than a intelligent spirit that happens to be wearing clothes and talking to us, or doing whatever it's doing, and that we capture on within our evidence. Um, at least that's where I see it. That's what I think is most prominent to me, or it makes most sense. I think a lot of this is indeed residual and just echoes. And the ones that do seem intelligent very well could be, they could be misleading. They could be deceptive. Uh, but again, this is something I don't have a real answer to. I don't have evidence to prove one or the other. So maybe there's some mystical misunderstanding on my part, uh, that would prove otherwise, like that a spirit would wear clothes for some reason or another. Because I can't imagine, like, if I'm a ghost, I'm gonna have a ghost closet and I could just go in and pick my wardrobe out, right? Like, it don't make sense.
Oh, if only. What do I
That's
feel
when
like
you
today?
break out of the matrix and just load back into whatever you want to wear.
Right.
Yep.
Kat, what's another one that you can think of that you've heard a lot?
Oh, this is one that am yet to be able to answer, but Rob Guttrow actually explained it, and I can't remember what his answer was. But I get a lot of people asking, why don't we see dinosaur ghosts?
Hmm.
And I'm like, well,
Episode.
maybe we have. Maybe sometimes you hear loud crashing. Maybe that's them walking. I don't know. But Rob Guttrow had a really good answer, and I can't remember what it was. But that is a question that I'm asked a lot.
That, yeah, I the only way I can actually, the way that I would answer that, or at least for myself, through biblical perspective, and it's dependent on how you view creation. Because there are two types of people. There are people who
Mm,
claim that creation is one creation and dinosaurs lived along with humanity. And there is some archaeological evidence that seems to prove that there were dinosaur footprints and human footprints together coming from the same period of time. But then there's other theorists who claim that, in the beginning, the earth was dark and void, and the Spirit of God hovered over the depth of the water, right? Um, and then all of a sudden, God spoke into his creation. And so there's this gap theory that between the time that the earth was dark and void and the time between the Spirit of God hovering over the waters, something happened prior, like within there. And in this case, it's the idea that dinosaurs existed,
mhm.
were destroyed, and then humans and all these other animals that we have today were suddenly created, or, um,
If
obviously in my mind created. Whoever wants to believe in evolution, we won't get into that. I'll go on for way
I
too long.
almost used that word, but I stopped just in case.
You know how I feel about evolution. But
Well, we've also heard those trumpets, out in the air sometimes that you can't
Mm.
explain. And there's multiple things, but maybe that's a T-Rex roar or, something
well,
like that.
Mm.
it could be. But here's the thing: is what I'm saying is, when we see the creation within Genesis, we see that God breathed His Spirit within all of creation. And if dinosaurs pre-existed the creation that's talked about in the Bible, therefore they existed prior to that gap, maybe He didn't breathe His Spirit into them, and therefore they had no spirit to give up when they died. They were just physical beings with no ghost. And that's why we don't see any dinosaur ghosts.
Hmm. I'd be very interested to hear other faiths chime in
Mhm.
to answer the same question. Do they believe the same thing as Christianity, just with their faith? So, if anyone wants to chime in, Send Erik all the emails. No.
Yeah, no, please. I read every single word on all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what other faiths say. That was well done.
Thanks. I try
Erik,
sometimes.
what's another one for you?
Wait, what?
What's
What's
that?
another one for you?
Oh,
Oh, well, we kind of already answered this one, which was what's the difference between residual and an intelligent haunting? And I'll just make that real quick here. A residual haunting is basically an echo in time, a timestamp in which a spirit or a haunting just happens repetitively over and over and over again. Some examples is like a gunshot, which maybe rings out at the same time every night. An intelligent haunting is one in which there are spirits that can intelligently react and interact with individuals within the home. Yeah, I think that's pretty simple, and we'll clear that out.
mm.
Uh, can somebody? This one's interesting because I've heard mixed reviews on this one in terms of answers. But can someone unknowingly invite a demon in? And I don't know if this question is like very general and like invite a demon into a person, a space, things like that. Or if
The
it's
way I
strictly
took
the
it is just it within your environment, not
environment.
into
Okay.
you.
Okay, that's fair. Um, and yeah, I stumble over this one because it's like it's a hard one to answer. Uh, but in reality, at least in my experience, I think yes, it is certainly possible to unknowingly invite a demon in. Demons are uh, the most intelligent and clever beings in the spirit world that walk this earth
And they predate humanity, so
by a lot.
yeah.
There's this belief that basically Satan knows every human being better than they know themselves is because they're constantly watching, they're constantly learning, they're constantly seeing all the little mannerisms that we don't even recognize in our own self, right? When we look in the mirror. And so if there is a possibility for a demonic entity to walk into your life, it may use whatever opportunity it can. This could be
Oh yeah.
as simple as somebody, and just from experience, I know people who've watched a horror movie. They got scared, and suddenly there's something, in their house, and it's a dark something, right? Whether or not it's demonic, I can't really say, but it was a dark spirit, right? A dark entity. If you're playing with Ouija boards or doing any sort of seances, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to properly open or close doors, things like that, you can potentially invite a demon in. So yeah, it is highly possible, or at least say highly, but it is very possible that you can indeed invite a demonic entity in. So it's important to protect yourself. It's important to surround yourself with light, to pray constantly for protection, because demons will take the opportunity when they see it. But I
Any little
do,
crack that they see.
yeah. But I do want to state that it's probably like if a demonic entity does enter your space, it's probably not going to let you know. Like this is another thing that demons are very good at. It's hiding themselves. They do everything behind the scenes. They don't want you to know they exist. And I think the main reason is because if you realize that hey, demons exist, and demon, you kind of meet that with devil, and if devil exists, God exists, so on and so forth. If God exists, well, now you've got power over this demon, right? And they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to believe those things. They want you to constantly live in the negative life that you might be living. They feed off of that. So, yeah, that's a long-winded answer, as I always do, for something that's as simple as yes, it is possible.
Well, I mean, I'll take it one step further. You've already mentioned it already about dark entities, but any entity or spirit, even ghosts, if you are, if you just believe, let's just put it that way, in something, yeah, you can unknowingly invite it into your space. I mean, we've talked about it before with Slender Man and it being maybe a tulpa type situation, not necessarily a spirit, or a spirit attaching itself to an idea of something you're scared of, and it becoming real, quote unquote real, um, in your space. Yeah. So I agree with you 100%, but I think it goes one step further than just demonic or demon or dark entities. It's any entity.
Yeah. I have to say though that I know an archbishop and a sister who used to do investigations and clearings on a regular basis. They're retired from that part, but thankfully they told me that these don't happen as often as everyone thinks,
Right.
and I was so happy when they said that.
Yeah,
Because
there's
that is another question. How often does it actually happen?
yeah,
Right.
and that's another thing that is really open to, again, speculation, because we don't have efficient proof, especially if we're talking about like there are potentially demons deceiving people and acting as, excuse me, cat.
There's a dark entity that just walked across the screen
I
there.
knew it about Eric. I just knew it.
um oh, I lost my train of thought now.
Thanks, Binks.
Come on, dude. If there's demonic spirits that are trying to deceive people and they're appearing as your deceased loving grandmother, right, or something like that, they would basically they're just trying to pull you away from maybe reaching out to God or reaching for light. But in those cases, like we can't discern that easily, because if it very much seems like it's our grandmother, but it's truly a demon, we can't prove that. Not unless that demon's willing to give itself up, Yeah.
Well, and that
But
answers
check.
that question we had of how can you tell the difference between a ghost and a demon? And truth of the matter is, you really can't.
Nah, not really.
But I have to say that if grandma came back and told you to hurt yourself and others, probably not
Yes.
grandma.
100%.
Right. Well, and demon, dark entity, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, they're gonna build up
Politician.
to that too. I mean, dark entity.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like I don't think a demon's gonna come out right out and say, "Hey, go kill yourself." It's gonna make you believe, "Hey, this is grandma. We want you.
Yes.
We want you back on. We want you on this side. We want to love you and be with you. Please go jump off of a bridge and be with us forever," type of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's personal belief. I'm not quoting scripture or anything like that.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Next one that I already am thinking about my answer to this is, can anyone develop psychic abilities? And I do believe.
Before we get to that, I'm so sorry. Miss just said grandma might hold grudges. There is that too.
There's that.
Sorry, I had to mention that. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, I'm so glad the cat has taken over ParaTruth Reborn now too, and we don't even have a show anymore. I think we should walk out, Eric.
No. Fine, I'll be quiet. That's
Just
okay.
say, hold on, wait, who's hosting this? No, you two take a seat. Step back.
But I believe that there's a twofold to that question, and that is I believe everybody can be born with this ability, but over time, if you're not developing it, then it's gonna kind of wither and decay, just like a limb that you've not used in years because of an injury or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's twofold there. But yes, I think everybody can develop it. It's one of those things that sometimes it's like, do you really want to open that door though? Because I can tell you right now, I didn't expect what I was getting into when I opened myself up. I'm thankful I did. I don't regret it, but I was excited to do this type of stuff and didn't think about the
Consequences.
repercussions. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But and either of you can argue that fact.
No,
I told you I was going to be quiet.
Well, too right, you should.
Go ahead,
Well,
Eric. You were going to say something.
Oh, no. I just said that I had nothing
okay.
to add. No, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mish has a very good question here. If we follow a life path, it's possible, or I guess not question, per se, but more of a statement. We arrange for these things to happen? Question mark. That's a good possibility.
Mhm.
I mean, there are those that say we choose these paths that we're on well before we incarnate here too.
I think you can also be, in some cases, directed on a certain path. I strongly believe in free will. We all have the opportunity to change paths and choose what paths we want to take. But I do think that there are guiding spirits, both good and bad, that can lead us on paths if we're susceptible to it. So that's very important because, like, if we follow life path, it's like, what is life path and how do you know it's the right life path? And the truth is, you don't. You never know until the end of the road. So the best thing you can do is pray over it, meditate on it, and trust your instinct, whether or not what you're doing is right or wrong, and whether or not it's the path that is meant to bring your best to life.
Right. Kat, what's another one?
What are signs that a place is haunted? Most classic signs are sudden changes in temperature, whether it's cold or hot. That's one of the classic ones for sure.
I mean, there's so much that goes into that question.
Yeah, I know.
As a paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
I was going to keep it simple and just say when there's a ghost. Like, that's.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait, whoa. A simple answer
I know.
from Erik Skurback.
No.
I know that's rare.
Who are you?
I scorned you, so now he's like, oh, maybe I should back off a little bit.
Just when you mentioned his full name reminds me of, I had you guys on the show many years ago, and for the longest time he just went by Erik with a K, and I actually introduced him with his last name. He goes, well, I guess everybody knows my last name now, and I'm like, I am so sorry.
There was a time where I was trying to keep myself separate from pretty much everything else, like the show, separate from everything else in life.
Cat had to mess that up.
Ever since, it's been Erik Skurback, my full name. So thank you for that, Kat.
You're welcome.
Years. I mean, it works though, because now you just go. So my name is like rather unique. My last name in particular, so you can easily just throw my name in Google and you get all kinds of stuff on my career, the podcast, past. Well, some of past history. Not the secret, personal stuff.
Secret societies.
Shh.
We've got another comment from the chat here from Heidi, and it's saying, I was thinking about the soul contracts, but I never thought of time's progression, all the advances made throughout time, but then the soul knows all. And it's not... So I don't think the soul knows all. I think we're given choices on what we want to learn in this life, if you believe in reincarnation. Because if you believe in reincarnation, you're not going to learn all the lessons all in one go. If you do, you had a pretty hard frickin' life. But I think it's more so God, that a higher power, a higher consciousness is saying, hey, look, you've got all of these choices. Which one you want to learn this time?
Yeah.
Not that we as a soul know it all. It's being given to us.
Right. And see, and yes, like if you believe in reincarnation, then yes, absolutely, that makes total sense, and that goes right along with the teachings of reincarnation. On the flip side, if we're talking about you have one life, you live that one life, and then it's done here on Earth. Well, then you have to start considering purpose. It's not so much to gain new knowledge and raise yourself higher on each life, but instead find the purpose that God had tasked you with prior to coming to Earth. There's a belief that prior to coming into our bodies when we're born, we are created as a spirit elsewhere in heaven or wherever, and then we are sent. Like, here's a task, this is what I want you to do. You come to Earth and you got to figure out what that task is, and there's a purpose, and you fulfill that purpose. Some people fulfill it, some people don't. But the point is, like, you come here, you live and learn life's experiences. You grow, you help other individuals during the same time that you're here, and then when you die, you go to heaven, and you basically receive all knowledge of everything and wisdom, and you learn it all. And then you look back on your life and say, you know what, I I didn't learn this during that moment in my life, or you know what, I'm glad I learned that because this happened. Um, so I think it's all about growth, regardless.
Could be as simple as, hey, I didn't get a chance to try that pizza. I want to go back.
See, but well, here's the thing though, too. Like, if you consider like if reincarnation is real, then why are there ghosts? Should not once you die, that spirit is reincarnated into another body. There should be no spirits on Earth.
Well,
in that case.
goes into the one question we had in here is what's the difference between a ghost and a spirit? And what I've always been told is ghost is a person that decided to stay here on this side of the veil because they were attached to something, or um, they felt they needed to do something more before they left. Where spirit has already passed to the other side, and that's where the reincarnation comes in.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense because, yeah, the way that I always thought is the ghosts are the ones who haven't crossed over. Spirits have crossed over, but for whatever reason, they can come back for a visit.
Right. And I've heard that
in a nutshell. Yeah.
Right.
I've always just seen them as interchangeable.
And there are, I mean, there are people that use it interchangeably as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Erik, what's another one you have?
Oh goodness, where do you want to go? We got so many questions.
Yeah.
Well, we got
I know
a comment here from Mish.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza with pineapple.
Yes, I agree. Yummy.
Yes. Pineapple and ham.
Yes.
Or Canadian bacon, whichever you prefer. Honestly, I love pineapple on pizza. I used to hate it, but you know, I like pineapple on pizza way more than I like orange juice with pizza, because that's just wrong. If you had orange juice pizza, it's like you're eating puke, literally. It's disgusting. The combination of the acid and the sauce and the acid and flavor of the orange juice is not a good combination.
The one combination I've come to love as of late is green olives and pineapple.
Okay.
I don't like green olives. Black olives. Green olives taste rancid to me.
Well, but as a vegetarian, that green olive has that salty, like the ham.
I can't talk to you anymore. Just kidding.
Okay. Well, we're just going to remove her from the...
I can come back. No.
Oh, God, she's a ghost.
I think I just derailed our train. I'm sorry.
No, I did by mentioning the pizza. Erik,
okay.
Yeah. So this one is kind of more of a two-part question. So we got to answer them both, I think, and not at the same time, but I think back to back. So the first question is witchcraft evil or misunderstood? Now, again, it's going to depend on your whole belief system, you know, your faith, and just how you grew up ultimately. I will say, as with any faith and any practice, it can be used for evil, but it doesn't mean it's inherently evil. So with that said, witchcraft is one of those things which can certainly be misunderstood by people who simply think it's straight up evil. But it isn't necessarily evil. It can be used for good. The majority of people who do witchcraft, to create spells, are usually doing it in a positive manner, a way to help protect themselves and loved ones, to create good energy and help people heal. That's not always the case, and so it's very situational. But again, it does come down to your belief system and your conviction. You know, does that mean if you believe that witchcraft is evil, you should go around cutting people who practice witchcraft down and telling them they're evil and despising them and spitting on them? No, absolutely not. That's just inhumane, right? As a human being, we all have the free will to do what we wish within, I mean, I can't say within reason. We all do have free will to do what we wish, but there are consequences, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah, I want to slap that person who is, doing this or whatever at the store, but that doesn't always come out very well, right? I get arrested for doing that.
Or those that think that it's okay to do murder for
right.
whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, there's also with witchcraft, there's whatever you, I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't remember exactly how it goes, but whatever you do, yes, the rule of three, whatever you do is going to come back to you 3 times, whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
When I started studying Wicca, that was the first thing that I read, and it was also in the movie The Craft. So there's that kind of reinforcement too. But yeah, I agree with that. Witchcraft isn't inherently evil; it's what you do with it that makes it evil.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
kind of like firearms,
100%.
exactly, yeah,
it's the person wielding it.
Yes,
yeah. So, one question, or we'll make this a 3-parter because it's about cryptids, and we're kind of running out of time here. Can't cryptids be explained just by misidentification? Are cryptids just animals we thought were extinct? And could these creatures be interdimensional beings? I will say that yes to all
times
3.
3. Come on.
Rule of 3.
I feel we jump to interdimensional beings way too much
Nowadays.
in this day and age in the paranormal to explain it because we can't find bodies or whatever. Not saying that some or all of these creatures might not necessarily have that ability, but I think we're generalizing way too much now, and there's got to be a better explanation. But it can be misidentification.
Definitely.
If you're afraid in the middle of the woods, I mean, if you're a hunter, you've been in the woods all your life, obviously you're going to know what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just a hiker, you don't come across wildlife that often.
Mm-hmm.
Coming across a bear on its hind legs, you can't see it from the front, you're seeing it from the back. It stands pretty tall. So yeah, your mind would create something that isn't necessarily there.
Well, and not to mention, for people who aren't used to seeing bears, you might see it and immediately become afraid, and your mind suddenly starts just like it's all over the place. Like, what do I do? And
right,
you
that's true too.
miss little details, and you start to think, was that a bear? Was that something else? Was it Bigfoot? And then all of a sudden, you're one of those people in the newspaper. I saw Bigfoot, and you become those people, right?
You become those people.
Those people.
Yeah, it was a bear, but.
Well,
but
I remember.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
I remember a few years ago, Eric, you had sent me a video, CCTV footage, someplace in South America, I think it was. People thought it was a werewolf, but I think it turned out to be a wolf with mange. Or no, what's that wolf that has a mane?
Wolf with a mane. Are you talking about a lion? That's a cat.
No. No, I know what a lion is. Thank you. It's one of the two. I can't remember if it was a wolf with mange or if it was a wolf that I want to call it a mane wolf. No, what, I can't remember what it's called.
Well, usually the chupacabra is explained as a wolf or a canine of some kind with mange. But a mane, I don't know.
I can't. I'm trying to think of which one it was. Was it the photo or CCTV? It wasn't a video. It was an actual photo. But was it the one that he was on his hind legs? Or
yes,
it was on its
yes,
hind legs?
yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what they officially announced that as. It was. I mean, it definitely looked like what you would typically think a werewolf looks like, for sure, or dog man,
Mm.
standing on his hind legs. And it had the same kind of stride. And there were a number of reports the following weeks claiming that in this little township, they were
Mhm.
seeing this thing and the dogs would start barking. Uh, but I don't recall if they ever did find, uh, like, they ended up finding out exactly what that creature was, or if it was even just, fake, manipulated.
Mm, I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was a while. That was a while ago.
Oh yeah.
Here's a question from Heidi. Has
Mm.
anyone heard of any experiences with big Egyptian looking cats? I mean, I've heard of like big cat sightings where they shouldn't be, like
Mhm.
the Black Panther type sightings, but I've never heard of Egyptian looking cats.
Neither have I. That's intriguing. You guys all know that I love ancient Egypt, and I even have a bunch of tattoos. So, are you talking about Bastet, which is the cat goddess, Heidi? But that I have to say that would be cool to see from a safe distance, of course.
Right. But yeah, I'm not. Heidi, clarify that one for us. Um, any others, Cat? We're getting close to the end, so I want to get as many in as we can.
There is one, but it's going to be a long explanation afterwards, so I'm not even going to mention it.
Okay. And you could let's talk about that after we wrap later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Curious.
yeah. Because
Um,
there's papers that people wrote, and just I'm not going to go
Oh,
down that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
that's fair. That's fair. Here's one that I think we can just kind of brush over real quick. This kind of goes back to the whole witchcraft magic type thing.
Mhm.
How do you? And this is actually a conversation I had with a friend of mine earlier this
Yes,
week, and it just
friends.
came to wow, Kat, you're not my friend. You don't consider yourself.
I'm your sister. You're,
Oh, okay, I see.
oh,
She gone.
that's
She
big.
disappeared. She's gone. uh,
uh,
this
guys.
yeah. So this conversation came up between my friend and I, and it sparked a thought in my mind, and it took me like a day to kind of process it and consider it. But how do you know when someone is working bad energy against you versus whether a negative spirit or entity is working against you individually as itself? So there's this idea like practicing witches or people who create spells to negatively impact a person's life. And doesn't mean like try to cause pain and hurt, and like hurt in the sense of like death and stuff, right? But it could be some illness or putting some stress on the business or making them lose clients, things like
Yeah,
that.
you didn't get that job you really wanted. Things like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And so, there are two aspects to this depending on the circle that you live in, right? Uh, there could be individuals who are working against you, creating spells and doing energy work to basically to off put your life, right? But there's also this possibility of spirits or entities who are working against you in order to either keep you off a certain path or because they're enjoying the negative energy that you're experiencing and they're continuously feeding off of it. And so they manipulate things to
Hmm.
help keep you in this kind of rough state. So, how do you know the difference between those two things, though? And I think the biggest thing that you can do, and truthfully, is simply prayer meditation because there's not really anybody you're going to ask. There's people who are working against you. They're not going to come right out and say, "Yeah, I'm working against you." And if there's a spirit working against you, it's also not going to come right out and say, "Yeah, I'm working against you." Right? So it just comes down to prayer, meditation, use your instinct. Try to clarify the things that are happening in your life, and then meditate on those things. Why is it happening? What are the possibilities? What does your friend circle look like? Who
When did
can you
it
reach out
start?
to? Did it start? What were the events during when that started? Things like that. That'll help guide you to the answer that you're looking for in
Hmm.
this sense.
And I mean, that can be applied to that same question of is it a ghost or a demon, too? You can meditate on it and
Mhm.
whatever. And again, you're not going to necessarily get the 100% answer to either of those questions that we're talking about, but
Hmm.
it's your own belief, what you're sensing, and stuff like that.
It's a place to start.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Um, and I know both of your answers to this probably, but the one that I really wanted to include in this is there a connection between mental health and paranormal experiences? And I mean, as Erik would say, it's a simple answer. Yes. Yes. But that's one of the first things you should be investigating if you're called in on an investigation team.
Hmm.
Is there any type of, not necessarily mental illness, but are you grieving, or is there a situation that's causing you to be sad or depressed, or um, i- is there mental illness? Are you taking medication for
Yep.
something? Stuff like
These are
that.
uncomfortable questions that we have to ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, mental illness isn't going to cause a spike in EMF, but that can also cause mental problems if you have high EMF in a very old home.
Right.
Hmm.
100%. So there is a scientific approach to it. Look at it logically, do the scientific testing that you can with the EMF detector and whatnot. But yeah, like you said, consider your mental health. And that again comes to meditating or just simply thinking, like taking the time to even journal and think about all the things that are happening. Why do you feel what you're feeling? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel angry, sad, etc.? How long have you been feeling that way? And what are the events causing that? This goes into the whole idea of shadow work, getting to know the darker side of yourself, right? The side that doesn't want to show itself, the one that wants to hide away, when you want to put a cap on and just keep
Hmm.
deep down as a secret, right? It's very important to do shadow work. It's very important to have and this, and I say this all the time. It's very important to have to get a therapist, and I've always admitted, despite me saying that, do as I say, not as I do, because I would refuse to get a therapist. But I will say here, right now, live, that I did officially get myself a therapist this past week. Um, so I'm finally practicing what I'm preaching in this case. So yeah, therapy is important. It's
Fine.
I mean,
helpful. I know.
same. I always
Every
said that
damn
I would
reason.
never go back to a therapist too, but here I am talking to a counselor.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely important to do a mental health check. Just know where you're at, because yes, those things can easily, like depression, anxiety, can easily manifest into what one would deem paranormal experiences. It can cause you to see things. It can cause you to feel things. It can cause you to hear things. The mind is incredibly wild, and
Hmm.
just it's so good at manipulating things and making you believe things that aren't really there. And I think that's the hard part with the paranormal. Like, how do you really know what's you and what is indeed an actual spirit that is haunting you? And honestly, that just comes with work, constant patience, testing, retesting, and learning about yourself.
I
For
just want
sure.
to add that if you keep a journal and you start looking back from when you first started until where you are now, if there's any changes, you're going to see the changes in your writing styles. It could be darker, and that could be an indication that, I got to look into these things a little more deeper.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. All right. Any final thoughts on anything we've talked about from either of you?
I'm gonna
No,
say,
just No, just if you have questions, reach out to somebody that you trust, that you can maybe talk about these things. And if you don't have anyone like that, reach out to, like, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but reach out to us.
yeah,
Even we might
100%.
know someone who can help you.
100%.
Yeah. All right, Kat. It is that time to tell everybody where they can find you and find your show and how to reach you if they want to reach out.
Yes. Well, my email address is paranormalheart13@gmail.com. And Paranormal Heart Podcast is on all the platforms, Podbean, Spotify. I'm also on YouTube, United Public Radio Network. That is all. The episodes come out every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on for us. Even
Thank
though
you.
it's not an official Thanksgiving show, I thought it would be great to bring on somebody who we're thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
I guess they couldn't show up? No.
Yeah, that's why we got you. We,
Yeah.
we needed a replacement.
Well, thank you so very much, guys.
um yeah, folks, thank you guys for always coming and listening to us. It's been a pleasure Kat and I were just talking about this before we got on, that Erik and I have been doing this for going on 18 years now. And Kat's going on 8. So in podcast years, we're elderly compared to Kat.
Well, I'm feeling it lately.
You're the old guys.
No
Well,
longer the ParaTruth boys or the ParaTruth elderly men.
I had somebody say to me, "Oh, you're an OG of podcasting." I'm like, "Thanks, man. That makes me feel so good."
You have to get t-shirts now. OG of podcasting.
All right. Again, this has been a live show on 107.7 FM New Orleans, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and United Public Radio Network. Check out all the shows we got here. There's so many of them. Paranormal Heart being one of them, and there's so many more. But until next week, folks, where you'll find us same time, same channel. My name is Justin.
And I'm Erik. Peace.